City today with the beginning of the public portion of the budget process. People and residents having the opportunity to take part in the budget meetings and make their voices heard.
A possibility.
Outside City Hall, housing advocates coming together with a call for more funding to support tenants facing renovictions and more building inspections under the city's Rent Safe TO program.
We are sick and tired. We cannot continue living like that. This is a city, the biggest city in all Canada, and we are still having to live with pests, to live with mold, to live with these repairs.
For Burnett, I'm chair of ACORN Scarborough and ACORN Canada. On behalf of ACORN members, I want to speak on the serious issues of lack of bylaw enforcement officers. Meanwhile, landlords are barely being held accountable by the city. When are you guys going to wake up and start being accountable? We know tenants are struggling to get repairs done. Rent Safety needs more inspectors to force these landlords to comply with the law. The status quo is not working for tenants, and tenants are suffering and living in subpar conditions. In our research, we have learned that Rent Safety has not been enforcing fines on the landlords. It has happened less than a handful of times in the last 2 years. We, as taxpayers in Toronto, and as tenants are saying to the city, enforce the fines on landlords, create more revenues for the city to uphold human rights and for the tenants to live in decent conditions. We have a city that we at ACORN have been asking to license our landlords now for I would say 20 years. And so far, it's nothing. We have to get a license to do just about anything in Toronto. What are you guys waiting on to license the landlord? Tenants need to have safe and healthy homes. Why are you guys not enforcing the rules? And why are you not fining landlords more? You hit them in their pocketbook and they'll change. And also that will be revenue for you guys. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm here because I live in Etobicoke, north of Etobicoke. I live at 2777 Kipling Avenue. I'm a member of Etobicoke ACORN. I've been a member for 3 weeks now, give or take. Kind of hit the ground running a little bit, mainly because the issues in the building we have. We have tenants who have no heat. It's something I've personally never experienced, but this past Saturday I had a meeting with a couple other tenants in the building, and we went to one of the apartments, and you would have thought she had no windows in her unit. You went to touch the wall heater that are connected to every unit, and it's ice cold. And you tell management, hey, there's no heat. And their solution is, here's a heater that you have to plug in on the units that you pay hydro yourself. So the problems are not getting fixed. And that is one of the apartments that was newly renovated. So this woman, I believe, is paying $2,800 to live technically outside, because that's the temperature she's living in. So I'm here to ask all of you to help us, help the hundreds of us, the thousands of us in this city who are renters, who have no choice. We are living in these conditions, and our landlords are looking at us and laughing and throwing the money in the air, saying they have no choice but to stay and suffer.
Hello, my name is Sheila, and I'm a leader in Scarborough ACORN. On behalf of ACORN member, I want to speak to the lack of bylaw enforcement and tenant protection we need. The city municipal license standard program is failing to enforce building to maintain property standard. We need the program with more teeth and hold the landlord accountable. The color code sign is a building rating system like the Dine Safe, with signs that clearly display the building rating and advertise in 311 for many tenant issues. The sign would inform tenants that the right, health, and safety concern about the safety rent system. When we go to tenant meeting, all over Scarborough, we hear the same thing, like pets. It takes too long to have repairs done, scams and fees, no hot water, no heat. It is time that the city step up to do something, and there is tenant displacement and renoviction. With people being renovated and forced out because of bad condition, we are losing affordable housing unit. Toronto ACORN is calling for the city to create a strong anti-renovation bylaw like Hamilton recently won. Landlord covering moving costs during the renovation. Landlord top up the rent and the tenant new unit during the renovation. Tenant move back in after the renovation at the same time. Tenant needs protection from the city, or we will have more displacement of tenant and more homelessness. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Hansi. I am a member of Scarborough ACON. On behalf of ACON members, I want to speak on the issue of the serious lack of bylaw enforcement in multi-residential unit buildings. Highlights from ACON's 2023 State of Repair report. 18% have cockroaches in the unit. 19% have had bed bugs in the past year. 29% have mice in their building. 29% have laundry machines in the building that don't work. 20% said they submit work orders monthly. Only 16% said work orders get done in a timely manner. ACON's demands are double the unit or year administrative fee Rent Safe Toronto has for all units from $15 to $30. In Hamilton, it is already $45. This is a minimal fee which will increase revenue for the city and fund more at Rent Safe Toronto. Online, the building I live at has 87% score on Rent Safe Toronto. The issues in the building are as follows: cockroaches, mice, carpet as old as 1969 has not been changed, has not been vacuumed in 1 year. The building does not have a working vacuum cleaner. We've had a leak in the lobby since the end of November. There's flooding right through the Christmas holidays. They haven't fixed it yet. They're working on it, but it's taken a very long time.
This meeting. My name is Marcia Stone, and many of you are sure familiar with my face. On behalf of ACORN members, I want to speak on the issue of the serious lack of bylaw enforcement in multi-residential unit buildings and the need for investment in the ConnectTO to fund a public internet service. At ACORN meetings, we hear the atrocious living conditions that many landlords in the city are getting away with. And it breaks my heart when I hear those stories, because I am not currently in that situation, but knowing at some point as a senior, I may end up in that situation. Here are some of the highlights from ACORN's 2023 State of Repair report. 18% have cockroaches in the unit. 19% have bed bugs in the past year. 29% have mice in their building. 29% have laundry machines in the building that don't work. And 20% said they submit work orders monthly. Only 16% said work orders got done in timely manner. That is disgraceful. The City of Toronto needs to hold these landlords accountable and force them to take care of the units, because they cannot do it themselves. But Rent Safe TO's highest fine for a landlord violation is only $600. Are millionaire landlords really intimidated by $600? Not. Furthermore, in our research, we have learned that Rent Safe TO has not been enforcing fines on the landlords. It has happened less than a handful of times in the past 2 years, and that's disgraceful and shameful. This program's been around for a long time now, and we need to strengthen that program. We as taxpayers in Toronto and as tenants are saying to the city, enforce the fines on landlords, create more revenue for the city, and uphold human rights to live in decent conditions. It's disgraceful. I'd also like to speak on the issue of access to affordable internet. Low-income people struggle to pay high internet fees. In 2021, broadband study found that 34% of Toronto households worry about paying the internet bill. We know everything we do today needs the internet from the time you get up till the time you go to bed. You either have to make an appointment, you have to register for this, you have to do this, that, and the other. And a lot of people don't have that access, nor do they have the resources to have someone help them when they do try to reach out to those services that are supposed to be there. What we really need the city to do with Connect-TO program is expand Wi-Fi to as many public places as possible in low and moderate income neighborhoods. Further, with any new housing that is built with the government tax breaks or on public land, we need to ensure that public fiber is installed in all new housing built. This will help create community and public networks in these buildings. We can no longer rely on a few giant telecom for all our internet needs. Relying on only a few giant telecom has left Canada with one of the most expensive internet service in the world.
Okay, go ahead. You have 5 minutes. Start with your name.
My name's Andrea McGilfrey, and Cristiano couldn't be here, but he is very passionate. I wanted to talk about renovation laws. We've heard every speaker today talk about housing, every single person, with policing, with the arts, EMS, shelters, the recreation workers. Everyone mentioned housing is a problem. It affects everything in our lives, and it affects every piece of the budget, I think. If we have safe and affordable housing, that will reduce a lot of the other problems in our city. And it should be available to everyone. They're incentivized to ignore repairs and try and push tenants out. We need a city to disincentivize landlords from renovicting people. We need to protect the affordable housing units that we have now. Toronto ACORN is calling for the city to create a strong anti-renoviction bylaw like what Hamilton has just passed. Landlords cover 3 parts of it. Landlords cover moving costs to new places during the renoviction. Landlords top up the rent at the tenant's new unit during the renovation. Tenant moves back after the renovation at the same rent. The city needs to mandate these things. We need to create a program that has at least 6 enforcement officers and 2 staff to make sure the program works and make the landlords do the job that they are supposed to be doing, not incentivize them to create an unaffordable, unpleasant city.
Visual.
Okay.
Yes, long time no see.
Okay, Alejandra, you know the gig. You've done it lots. You got 5 minutes.
Sure, thank you. Thank you. My name is Alejandra, and I am the chair of East York ACORN, and I live in the East York neighborhoods. Of people that come into our meetings, and what they say and they explain it to us is that the officers don't follow up with them. The officers go only and call the landlord. Landlord say yes, everything is done, and they follow that. And it's not because the officers are evil or something like that. It's because they really cannot do more. And unfortunately, because vacancy, the control, and about the guideline increases are ramping, this is what is happening, increasing more and more disrepairs. It's very problematic. The audits are doing in the common in the common area, the lobby. And, well, we don't live there. So this doesn't make sense at all. And again, we know it's because the lack of officers. The other thing that I want to speak about too is that the heating problem. As we know, we had a problem with the environment that is very pressing. And 77% of tenants that we did a survey are affected by extreme heat. And the problem is that landlords, because they have so much power, what they have been done is that they treat people to, okay, you want AC, so now you have to pay me more. On top of all the about the guideline increases, the renovations, the demolitions, that all this that is happening in the city, and it's so unfair. And we have the tools. We as a city have the tools, but we don't want to implement it. Or we really don't know what is the issue. But at the end of the day, we don't care what is the issue. Why we had not implemented? We need it done, and we need it today. I should start this saying that we have been fighting this for 20 years, since 2004. And it's getting to a point that we feel invisible, that we feel like, okay, are you hearing that this is a complaint, a constant complaint, people calling to your your office, and with the same song, it's like no change. And we say that this cannot happen anymore. We are sick and tired of the same treatment. Later, after, oh, let's give you crumbles. We don't want more crumbles. We want what it is, what we need.
My name is Rama Fayyaz. I am the chair of Downtown ACORN. On behalf of ACORN members, I want to speak on the issue of the serious lack of bylaw enforcement in multi-residential unique buildings and the failing rent-safe TO program. The city's municipal and licensing standards program is failing to enforce buildings to maintain property standards. We need a program with more teeth. The city has to, first, double the unit per year administrative fee rent-safe TO has for all units from $15 to $30. As we all know, in Hamilton, it is already $45. This is a minimal fee which will increase revenue for the city and fund more for rent-safe TO. Second, more inspectors to protect existing affordable housing. In 2022, rent-safe had only 35 full-time staff for 3,500 buildings. So it's about 350 buildings for one inspector. We need a ratio similar to the proposed ratio for rooming houses, which is one inspector for 12.5 buildings. Third, a new fine system to issue major financial penalties for negligent landlords with automatic tickets by inspectors for any property standard violation. This will create revenue in the city and incentivize landlords to maintain their buildings up to standard. And fourth, create a rent escrow account at the city so tenants can pay their rent directly into the city when the landlord is not doing repairs. The city can then use this account to do the needed repairs themselves. With this money, the city should first step in to do repairs automatically when landlords ignore the repairs. And the city has to bill the landlord on their property tax. It currently takes months for rent-safe TO to force the building to do repairs. That's too long. Second, fix the inspection system for evaluation. Currently, the rent-safe audit score combines property standards violations in the common areas only. The building evaluation process should include tenant complaints, property standards violations, length of time it takes to get repairs done, and also work orders, in-suite inspections, and speaking to tenants directly. Tenants do not live in the common areas. They live in their units, so there should be inspection of their units. Third, licensing landlords. The city should move towards a landlord licensing regime. How come we need a license to operate a hot dog cart? We don't need one for a building. There are cities that already have done it. For example, New Westminster in BC, licensing is required to tackle issues like renovictions. And fourth, color-coded signs, a building rating system like DineSafe, with signs that clearly display the building rating and also advertising 311 number for any tenant issues. The signs would inform tenants of their rights, health, and safety concerns, and about the rent-safe system.
My name is Ria. I am co-chair of Etobicoke ACORN. On behalf of ACORN members, I want to speak on the lack of bylaw enforcement and the tenant protections that we need. The city's municipal and licensing standards program is failing to enforce buildings to maintain property standards. We need a program with more teeth to hold landlords accountable. So in order to do that, we're proposing that the administrative fee that Rent-Safe TO charges for all units be raised from $16.02 to $30. That's the unit per year, per unit per year administrative fee that Rent-Safe has. In Hamilton, it's already $45, and this is a minimal fee, but it will increase revenue for the city and fund more at Rent-Safe TO. We're also asking for more inspectors to protect existing affordable housing. In 2021, Rent-Safe had 33 full-time staff for 3,500 buildings. That's about 350 buildings for one inspector. We're also asking for a new fine system to issue financial penalties to landlords for any property standard violation. This will create revenue in the city and get landlords to maintain their buildings up to standard. We'd also like to see a rent escrow account be created at the city so tenants can pay their rent directly into the city when the landlord is not doing repairs, and then the city can then use this amount to do the needed repairs themselves. With this money, the city should step in to do repairs automatically when landlords ignore them, bill the landlord on their property tax when repairs are completed. It currently takes months for Rent-Safe TO to force the buildings to do repairs, and that's just too long when people are living in discomfort. The city should also use this money to fix the inspection system for evaluation. Currently, the Rent-Safe audit score combines property standard violations in the common areas, but it should include in-unit inspections because tenants do not live in the common area, they live in their units. Also, with this money, the city should look into licensing landlords. We should need a license to be a landlord when, if you think about it, you need a license to operate a hot dog cart. You should have one for a building. There is an example of this in Canada where cities like New Westminster in BC have successfully licensed landlords. We're also asking for color-coded signs. So with that, a building rating system like Dine Safe with signs that clearly display the building rating and advertising 311 for any tenant issues. And the signs would also inform tenants of their rights and health and safety concerns and about the rent-safe system itself. So it's time the city steps up to do something on this.
My name is Firdaus, and I'm a ACORN member. But I would talk about the absence or the weakening of rent controls, which are a major factor in this issue and result in many consequential impacts on society in general, but also have an impact on the city budget as well. And I understand this is a jurisdictional issue to some extent. However, this issue does need to be addressed with the province, which has the pen to the paper on rent controls. But at the same time, there has to be a better way of handling this. Some of those could be where, for example, I understand the city is committed to increasing housing. And if the city is providing funding or land to developers, rent control can be a condition that is required for such arrangements. So that is one thing. The other aspect of rent control is that the weakening of rent control, especially for the vast majority of rental buildings in the city, which are quite old, is it acts as an effective wealth transfer to the landlords. giving a landlord whose building is fully depreciated a pass from rent control is simply giving that person a license to make a significant amount of money and increase their own personal wealth, but at the cost of society and the individual renters. Renoviction is a big issue. Lack of maintenance is a big issue, and these are ways by which landlords often engineer or let's call them influence tenants to move out.